Okay guys, time for another tutorial. I'm going to continue with the program from the last time, which is the Hello World program, and basically create a new application and choose console and C Sharp. What will happen if I decide to change the message displayed? Okay, I will type in hello John. And imagine you are doing this 20, 30 times. It will get quite tedious. You might make a typo, miss a letter, and yeah, it will become frustrating quite fast. So I'm introducing the concept of variables. Let's say this is my message from now on. It's called Hello World. And I'm just going to delete this and console, then right line, and then type in message. Don't forget to put the semicolon, it ends the statement, otherwise you'll get compiler errors. Press F5 to compile and run the program. It runs as expected. It displays hello world. Now, what is the power of this? Well, you can have this 4 times and then just delete this word and I was about to say world, and you see I changed the message everywhere. Now what's going on here? You have something like a string, and then you have the variable name, which is, let's say, x, and then you have some message. I'm going to write numbers here, explain just in a second what's going on. Now this here is the variable type, the variable name, the assignment operator, and the value. Pay attention to the order. You cannot have something like 2, 3, 4, 1. I mean, C# expects some certain order. It expects the variable type as first, then the variable name as second, and then the assignment, and then you have like the value. Now there are different variable types, such as byte, short, ushort, integer. Different variable types store different type of information. Let's say integer x equals to 1. Now imagine if you skip this, the compiler will not be happy. So as I said, pay attention to this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. And pay attention to the order, of course. What will happen if I try later on to say x equals to something like this? Well, the compiler will complain and say, okay, you have some error. First, it expects the semicolon, and then you have a problem because you cannot assign a string to some integer. Now, this is all well and good, but let's go again to this table. Let's copy this value. This is the maximal number that integer can store, and then let's go like this and introduce a second variable, which is called y, and then just copy this value and equals to this one, and then what will happen if I try to sum the numbers? As I said, this is an operator, but there are other operators as well, because you have this one, you have this one, this one, this one. These are all operators in C# and they mean different things. I'm going to explain this later on. Let's do the sum of these two integers and then see what happens. -2. Ha. Why is this? Because we went over the limit. Now, if I change to long, sorry, and run the program again. This is the correct result. And you are going to ask, okay, why not use long everywhere? Because every variable stores some information into the memory, and it takes some memory, let's say some bytes, and you might run out of memory because, okay, these are simple types, but imagine there are like some bigger types and you produce hundreds and hundreds of objects, then you are going to eat the memory quite quickly, and you might face some problems. So when you don't need to store such big numbers, then store this in integer and don't use long. If you expect to use long numbers, then use long. One more important thing to note is that there are some reserved keywords, like you cannot have something like this and then equals to some string, because this is a reserved keyword. You cannot have something like class, and you can just Google and C# reserved names. So as you can see, you cannot use any of these names. Also have in mind that C# is case sensitive, so you cannot have something like this happening. Sorry, I typed it wrongly, but then you have something like, okay, what is this X here, you know? Let me go to the errors, and yeah, there are some different errors. Let me clear the screen. So it says, okay, X does not exist in the current context. Yeah, because it's written lowercase. Pay attention to this as well. As I said, these operators like equals, plus have different meaning. If I have something like console and then right line, and then you have something like message, and then you have something like A. What will be the result? It will be hello A. But if I have numbers, then you will have the sum. So these operators have different meaning depending on the context. What is there to say more about variables? I think maybe if it's still unclear what are these variables, and I'm going to make some analogy here. it won't be a very good analogy, but let's go to the drawing board, and yeah, let's say you have something like cat, and then you have JPG. You know that you are expecting some picture, and then this is the file name, similar to something like string, and then you have A, and then you have something like A. So you are expecting some string. If you have something like cat, and then you have MP4, then you can expect some video of some cat. Similar if I have integer x equals to 1. Of course, this could be some virus, and the extension could be totally false, but this is the main principle. Or let's say we have something like x, and then we have something like 2, and we have something like 3 plus x equals to this. What will be the result? Well, we know x is 2, so 3 plus 2 equals to 5. And there you have it. Of course, there are these memory structures where these values are stored. There are some memory addresses, but I don't want to go into details. As this is only an introduction tutorial, and it's memory management is another topic, which is for another video. But I think for now it should be quite clear what's going on. Of course, pay attention to what's going on in your program, like the execution order, because you might have something like console write line message, but you have something like message equals to something like this. Sorry for the bad example, but you will get hello. But if you reassign this value, let's say here, then you will get something like AA. So you can reassign the value, it's no problem. Just remember to use the correct type, otherwise you will get some unpredictable results. I will use these 2 minutes remaining to show you something like some operators. Is x equal, let's say, equal to 0, what will happen in this case? No. Then is x equal to 1? Yes. Then is x greater than 10? It's not, so you get false. And you get the idea. I mean, you are already prepared to write some very simple programs like compare values, do some simple calculator, do some calculation, multiplication, division, subtraction, addition, play with strings, concatenate strings, try to produce errors as well. By producing errors, you learn as well. And play around with the examples in these videos. That's all for now. In the next video, I'm going to continue with functions. Thanks for watching, and if you have some questions, leave them in the comment section.